do not care at all about your company's results. Yes, you heard that right. Don't care about the results. Leon, what are you saying? I shouldn't care about my KPIs. I shouldn't care about whether or not I achieve my goals. Alarm is going. Let me just quickly stop this one and also tell you what it is. Every 2 hours, I get an alarm on my phone which asks me, what do I know to be true? Okay, what do I know to be true? In the previous video, I talked about framing, right? Well, your personal life, your individual world is also about owning the frame. Okay, so if you don't reinforce to yourself what you know to be true for you in your life, and it's not just about the current reflection of reality, but so much as about as well as your what's in the physical plane in the future. If you don't know what it is that you know is true about you in the future, it's also not going to happen. Okay, this is kind of in line with what we talk about today when it comes to not caring about results. Okay, so this was a fun distraction that gave actually a great angle towards this video, because you shouldn't care about your results. You really don't. Caring about your results is assigning so much importance to it that you're actually pushing it away. The more importance you're putting on results in your company, the more you push it away. Now, hear me out, okay? And I had to learn this to shift my mindset. You know, I was very focused on results. I was a business leader for 20 years, and I was making, in the first 10 years, a hell for my people just to push them to reach results. And that is what most business leaders are doing. They are pushing their people towards the results because it is very important for them, as if it's almost the only marker for business success. The results. Yeah, we should be result driven. We should, if we don't reach a result, we're doing something not okay. Well, I beg to differ. And in this video, I'm going to try to get that concept into Mickey Mouse language out, okay? Think about it for a second. When the results are really important for you, there's always a flip side to it. There's always another side of why the results are very important for you. And that is very often because you're afraid that if you would not reach the results, something bad would happen. Okay, something bad would happen. Well, what is that then? What is the monster under the bed? Yeah? As kids, we believe that there lies a monster under our bed, and we are so convinced that the monster is there that we even see the monster, right? Maybe kids see all the dimensions and the monster is really there. As adults, I don't think we remember that, but as a kid, you know the monster is under the bed. But as adults, we have exactly the same thing. The monster under the bed is, for example, failure of our business, running out of cash and having to close down the business because we failed, right? That's the monster under the bed. So if you are putting a lot of importance on your business results and you're forcing your people to try to achieve those results and measure your people all the time on whether or not they just achieve the results, you're actually telling the whole organization, I'm afraid. I am anxious. I am worried that if we don't achieve the results, then something bad would happen. The monster under the bed will come out. I have to close down the business. I can't live the life that I want. I have to sell the house I live in. That's the adult's version of the monster under the bed. Okay? What if I told you there's another way? And that way will actually give you better outcomes, better results. And it's actually also more energizing than energy draining and more motivating and exciting for people in your organization. Now tell me, show me an organization where more motivation and excitement has not led to better results, right? That doesn't exist. That's one-on-one correlated. Higher intrinsic motivation, higher excitement, fun leads to better engagement, and better engagement has always led to better business results. And it's not created by focusing on the results like as a obsessed person almost, okay? Now, what is the other way then? Well, the mindset shift that I teach also my clients on is not to stop caring about the results, but see the results as messengers. Messengers that tell you something about what is going on the unseen plane. Because think about it, right? Let's say you have a KPI. And the KPI is the holy grail in the company. And there's so much importance on the KPI. And if we are 0.1% off, everybody's in panic. What do we do? What do we do? The results are bad. The results are bad, right? And then, especially when the results, for example, connected to a specific person, we automatically step into saying the person hasn't performed, right? But is that really true? Is it really true that when the KPI is not being met, that the person hasn't performed? Or is that maybe trying to find the black sheep? I don't know. But what I do know is that the amount of circumstances and factors that really influence the final outcome, the final result, is infinite. It has to do with so many different factors. Inside the business, outside of the business, but also inside the person. You know, which person is always 100% on the same highest performance level? It doesn't exist. Persons also flow like this. Internal circumstances flow like this. External circumstances flow like this. There's the aspect of timing. Do you really think that you control the timing? No, the timing is being controlled by somebody else. Sometimes you hit it and you say like, oh, we were really good in timing. And sometimes you don't, and then it's the person. No, you just hit the timing. Conclusion about this is like, there's so many factors that influence the results that we can't actually hold the person really fully accountable for the outcomes, for the real results. I've seen people being fired from organizations that were absolute A players, and we'll come to that in a second, but they were fired from organizations because the KPIs were not there. Absolute loss, a pure loss to the organization. The people that I saw leaving were magnificent people, okay? But Leon, what are you talking about? What is actually then, how should I do that? It's all about mentalities and attitudes. Manage the mentalities and attitudes of your people, and the outcomes and results will follow. Hear me out. Let's say you have a car, right? You have a dashboard with all these metrics. Speed, RPM, fuel, oil, engine temperature, you name it. These are all metrics. Only a handful of them are actually KPIs. So let's say speed, the biggest one, RPM, another very big one, are like the two main KPIs of a car, right? Speed and RPM drive the most decisions in driving the car. It drives the decision on the accelerator, and it drives the decision on the brake and the gear shifter, if you will, right? So are we insanely obsessed about the metrics in the car, the KPIs, the outcomes? Or are we using these metrics to change our behavior? Yes, we change our behavior. We're not overly obsessing about the speed in the car. We try to hit it, but it's never exactly on spot. We're not overly obsessing about fuel level, but we keep an eye on it. And if it goes too low, we take a decision to do something different, and that is go to the gas station and fill the tank up, right? Well, there's no difference with an organization. All metrics and KPIs in your company are there only to drive decision making. Okay? So if a KPI is green, it should drive the same decision making as when it's red. And I say red because red is the color of negative, but is it really negative? No. It only tells us something. It tells us something where we need to put our focus, because we haven't learned enough yet in that specific area that we are measuring for the results to reflect back our learnings. So a KPI that's not being met, a metric that's not being met, tells us we haven't learned enough in that area yet. For if we would have learned enough, the KPI would have shown us this. Okay? So a KPI metric always reflects either enough learnings or a lack of learnings. So that changes the whole scope, the whole outlook, right? Because now we're not judging our people anymore on the final outcome of these metrics and KPI. We're looking at the mentality and the attitude that the person has when the KPI does this or the metric does that. Right? How is this person dealing with that? How driven and how much accountability do they take to try to get those learnings out, propose solutions, and implement them to improve it? So I'm here to make a case that you can have a person in your team that has, let's say, all the metrics on red, and yet it is the best asset for your business, this person. Because you have to look into how does this person deal with that? How is the person influencing others in the organization when the results reflect back a lack of learnings? Or I would even go as far as not saying it's a lack of learnings, it is how much we have learned until now. You know? And that leads me also to saying that the best way to, the best mindset to have towards a metric or a KPI is to say, the KPI reflects back to us, how much have we done from what we thought we would do or what we aimed for, right? How much have we done as compared to what we've aimed for? And then why is it so? Because even when you do more, you still want to know why. How come we did much more? Right? What is the learnings there? Because maybe the KPI aim was way too low. So is it actually then a satisfactory result, or have we been too little ambitious? Or maybe we have found our uniqueness in the company, our absolute unique strength, because the KPI reflected this back. So the learning is neutral. The learning should go both ways. It is when the KPI, when the outcome does not reflect what we aimed for on the side where there's still a bridge, a gap to go, or we do more, the learning should be the same. So the change that I want to bring with you here is that you look at your people in terms of how they deal with that, and you judge them on that. Okay? You reward them on that. You reward them on their behavior, not on whether or not, with the millions of factors that influence the KPIs are actually met by them, because they don't meet the KPIs. The KPIs are just a reflection of what's going on in the organization with all the factors in and out. Okay? Now the question then comes, should I stop rewarding KPIs? No, absolutely not. Because the achievement of a KPI, and that's again the mindset shift, the achievement of a KPI reflects back how well the person has been dealing with these learnings. How well has the person been influencing the organization and taking ownership and accountability for putting in the work to get those learnings out and to achieve the results. But the shift I want you to make here is to look at that it's not the absolute performance measure for the person. Okay? The absolute performance measure is mentality and attitude and behavior of the person towards KPIs that are maybe not being met. Okay? Or results that are maybe not being met. Yeah? And I will guarantee you that by shifting that mindset from solely focused and caring so much about the outcomes and caring so much about the achieving of the results, lower the importance there and focus on cultivating a culture of this ownership, accountability. Focus time and energy on that, and focus on cultivating that in people also. This frame, give them the frame and how we deal with KPIs and metrics that are not where we aimed at. And you will see massive transformation in just engagement and motivation within the team, because it's not just all about discipline. And we'll cover that in one of my future videos. The difference and the similarities and the symbiotic relationship between discipline and motivation. I'll see you in the next video.